Your engine is probably wearing out faster than it has any reason to, and the strange part is it has almost nothing to do with how old the car is or how many miles are on it. It comes down to a handful of small daily habits, ordinary stuff, done by people who never miss an oil change. And by the end of this, you'll know all 7, what each one is quietly costing you, and the exact 30-second fix for every single one. Stick with me through all 7, because number 3 has a mechanism almost nobody explains correctly. The fix costs $15, and the people who find out too late pay $3,000. I changed these 7 habits a few years back, and the last time a mechanic ran a scope inside my engine, he looked genuinely confused by the odometer reading. You'll understand exactly why. Let's start with the one that's going to feel completely backwards. Warming your engine up by idling. Sitting in the driveway on a cold morning, engine running, temperature gauge slowly climbing, that feels responsible. Feels like you're being kind to the machine before you ask anything of it. Here's what's actually happening. Modern fuel-injected engines are built to warm up under gentle driving load, not standing still. When you idle cold, unburned fuel washes down the cylinder walls and thins the protective oil film between the piston rings and the metal. On direct injection engines, which is most cars built after roughly 2008, fuel sprays straight into the cylinder, so the intake valves never get washed by passing fuel the way older designs were. Carbon builds on the back of those valves from oil vapor and exhaust gases and long cold idling speeds that process up. When the buildup gets bad enough, a professional carbon cleaning runs $300 to $500. The real irony is that the engine reaches operating temperature much faster being driven gently than sitting still. The old warm-up advice came from carbureted engines in the 1970s that genuinely needed it. Yours doesn't. Start it, give it 30 seconds, pull away easy. That's the whole fix. Number 2 has a mechanism most people have genuinely never heard, and it explains a repair bill that seems to come from nowhere. Running the fuel habitually low, not running out, just the pattern of riding that last quarter tank, letting the warning light glow, filling up only when it's nearly gone. Your fuel pump sits submerged inside the gas tank and uses the gasoline around it as cooling fluid. When the level drops low, the pump runs hot and barely any liquid, drawing from the very bottom of the tank where years of sediment have settled. Fine rust, grit, everything that sinks. That material runs through your fuel filter and on an old filter straight to your injectors. Injectors are precision instruments with tolerances measured in microns. Contamination doesn't kill them overnight. It degrades them slowly, giving you rough idle, falling fuel economy, and eventually misfire codes that cost real money to chase down. The pump itself overheats and wears from the inside. Fuel pump failure runs $400 to $800 and has a reliable habit of arriving at the worst possible moment. Fill up at a quarter tank, no extra cost, no inconvenience, and the pump lasts the life of the car instead of quitting at 120,000 miles. Stay with me, because number 3 causes the most expensive damage on this list, does all of it silently from the inside, and gives you almost no warning until the bill is already decided. Old coolant. Not low coolant. Old coolant. Fresh antifreeze is slightly alkaline, and that alkalinity is part of how it protects the metals in your cooling system. Leave the same fluid in long enough, and it turns acidic. Acidic coolant does 3 things with quiet, unhurried efficiency. It dissolves the impeller inside your water pump, pits the inside of your radiator, and eats at the head gasket seal from the coolant side inward. The first warning sign, if you get one at all, is a faint sweet smell from the engine bay. That's ethylene glycol, the main ingredient in your antifreeze, burning somewhere it shouldn't be. Squeeze the upper radiator hose when the engine's cold. It should feel firm. Soft and spongy means the coolant chemistry has already been working on the rubber from the inside. By the time either of those signs shows up, the damage is usually done. A head gasket job is $1,500 to $3,000 in several days without the car. A coolant flush is $15 of fluid. Every manufacturer lists a change interval. Almost nobody follows it. Check the overflow bottle tonight. Brown or rust-colored fluid instead of bright and clean means it's already turned. And that's a $15 problem that's running out of time. Here's the one that gets you slowly because it sounds like nothing at all. Short cold trips. Every cold start produces condensation inside the engine. Water vapor from combustion and from the surrounding air condenses on cold metal and mixes into the oil. Normally, that moisture burns off completely once the engine holds full operating temperature. On a 5-minute trip to the corner and back, the engine never gets there. The moisture just stays in the oil. Repeat that pattern over weeks and months, and the oil slowly emulsifies, thickening into a gel-like sludge that blocks the narrow oil passages feeding the top of the engine. Pull your dipstick and look at the oil on the rag. Fresh oil is amber to dark brown. Anything milky or foamy means this has already started. And the right move is a fresh oil change before anything else. The ongoing fix is genuinely boring. Combine short trips when you can, and once a week, put the car on a road long enough to hold full operating temperature for 20 minutes. Most dashboard gauges settle at the midpoint when you're there. On a highway that takes about 10 minutes to reach and holds easily, one warm run a week undoes what a dozen cold 5-minute hops slowly build. Number 5 is one you might be doing on purpose to save money, which is what makes it sting. Lugging the engine. This is driving in too high a gear at too low an RPM, letting the revs fall to almost nothing, and then pressing the gas to keep moving, especially up a hill. People do it because low revs feel economical, gentle, easy on the fuel. What's actually happening under the hood is close to violent. At very low RPM with a heavy throttle, the pressure inside the cylinder spikes while the engine is turning too slowly to handle it, and the fuel mixture stops burning smoothly and starts exploding, knock or detonation. That shockwave hammers the piston, the connecting rod, and the bearings that the rod spins on thousands of times a minute. Those bearings are soft metal riding on a film of oil, and they are not built to be struck like that. Do it for years, and you spin a bearing, which is engine rebuild territory, easily $2,000 to $4,000. The fix is free, and it's a feel. If the engine sounds strained or shudders when you press the gas, you're in too high a gear. Drop down one, let the revs come up a little, and accelerate there. A slightly higher RPM doesn't hurt your engine. Lugging it absolutely does. 6 is the small one you do at the gas station, and almost nobody knows it's a problem. Topping off after the pump clicks. The nozzle shuts off automatically for a reason. Your tank is full, and the space above the fuel is supposed to stay empty for vapor. When you squeeze in a little more to round up to the next dollar, that extra liquid fuel gets pushed into a part of the car that was never meant to hold liquid. The evaporative emissions canister. That canister is full of activated charcoal, and its only job is to absorb fuel vapor and feed it back to the engine to be burned. Soak it in liquid gasoline, and the charcoal breaks down. Now you've got a check engine light, hard starts, a car that may fail an emissions test, and a canister and valve repair that runs $200 to $600. All to squeeze in an extra 40 cents of gas you couldn't fit. When the pump clicks off, you're done. Hang it up and drive away. 7 applies to every single start your engine will ever make. The first 30 seconds. This is the highest wear window in the entire operating life of any engine, every morning, no exceptions. The oil pump takes a moment, longer on a cold morning, to push fresh oil from the pan up to the camshaft and the valve train. During that window, the top of the engine is running on whatever thin film clung to the metal from the last time you drove. You can't eliminate this window. Every start has it. But you can stop making it worse. Don't rev the engine right after starting. Don't switch on the AC, the rear defroster, the seat heaters, and the stereo all at once the instant it catches. That maximum electrical load hits the alternator. Exactly when oil pressure is still climbing. Start it. Do your seatbelt. Check your mirrors. 20 seconds of nothing, then pull away easy. And one thing worth filing away for life. If the red oil pressure light ever comes on while you're driving, that is not an early warning. Oil pressure has already dropped below the safe minimum. Stop immediately. Not at a better spot up ahead, right then. Driving further on a failing oil pump is exactly how a tow call turns into an engine replacement. The bonus is for anyone who parks a car over winter or lets one sit for a couple of months or more. Oil drains off the cylinder walls while a car sits and settles down into the pan. After several months, that film on the cylinder walls has had time to evaporate and oxidize away. The first cold start after a long sit is the driest moment those walls will ever see in the life of the engine. So before you turn the key, pull one spark plug and drip a tablespoon of fresh engine oil straight into the cylinder through the plug hole. Thread the plug back in, then start it normally. The oil coats the walls right away instead of waiting for pump pressure to climb from the bottom. Engine rebuilders do this exact step before firing up a fresh motor for the first time. Same principle, same reason, and it takes 4 minutes. Your engine starts wet instead of dry, and that first start after storage is suddenly no longer the worst one it'll ever take. If any of that buys your engine some extra years, send it to someone who drives. Thanks for watching.